One of the things that we can do as investors to learn from other people who probably have more experience than we do is look at what big successful investors have done. They have to file quarterly filings called a 13F to tell the market exactly what they own, what positions were added or subtracted during a quarter. And one of the people I like to watch is Bill Ackman. He runs the Pershing Square Capital Management. He's been in the hedge fund industry for over 20 years at least. And he invests very similarly to the way that I invest, looking for asymmetric returns and then making concentrated bets on those investments long term. He made a couple of changes to the Pershing Square portfolio in the fourth quarter of 2023, information that was out, but there weren't any major changes. The portfolio is in one stock. So I want to dig into exactly what this portfolio looks like and what stock Ackman is betting so much on. My name's Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. The first thing I'm going to pull up is the portfolio overall. And this is just a look at the companies, the size of the portfolio, and the companies that are in it. This is actually about a $10 billion portfolio. And you can see here some of the moves that have been made recently, selling a little bit of Chipotle stock. This is obviously the biggest holding in the portfolio, selling a little bit of Hilton Worldwide and selling most of the stake in Lowe's. But the company that I really want to focus on is Chipotle, because I think this really shows the way that Ackman invests. He gets a lot of attention for being a billionaire, for investing huge stakes in companies, but he actually makes very long-term investments. And I think Chipotle really shows that. This is Ackman's ownership stake in Chipotle, goes back to the middle of 2016. And you can see that added a significant amount of Chipotle in 2016, held that for a few years, and then started to pare back a little bit. And this was as the stock was running up. You can see from the stock price here, the lows for Chipotle happened in 2016, late 2017, and then in 2018, shares really started to escalate really quickly. And over this period of time, over about the last 10 years, the stock is up 362%. Now, there are ebbs and flows in the amount of capital that a hedge fund manager like Ackman has available to invest. So you can see the other thing to look at is the percentage of the portfolio that is allocated to Chipotle. And that has hovered right around 20%, at least the high teens, for most of the last 8 or so years. So that when this position started to be accumulated, this was a very high concentration bet, and obviously one that worked off really well given the stock performance over the last 6 or 7 years. Restaurant Brands International is the other one that has a really big concentration in the portfolio, and this has been held at a really high level going back to at least 2014. And you can see that this stake is actually growing as a percentage of the portfolio over at least the last couple of years. And the interesting thing with this one is a similar trend to Chipotle. A lot of the similar kinds of restaurants owns Burger King's, Tim Hortons, Popeyes, Firehouse Subs. So not necessarily the same concentrated portfolio as Chipotle, which just has one kind of restaurant, but is really a bet on kind of this fast food or fast casual kind of a concept and the leverage that's available to those kinds of businesses. So these two stocks account for close to 40% of Ackman's portfolio, and they're playing in the same market. They're not technology companies. I think that's what's really interesting. If we look back at the holdings, the only real technology company that you have here is Alphabet, and that accounts for about 18% of the portfolio. So that would be the next one to look at is Alphabet and the acquisition of that stake. I'll pull up those, and obviously there's two different tickers that we're looking at here. The first I'll pull up is GOOG, and this is now 12.7% of the portfolio, and most of this has been acquired in about the past year. The other one is GOOGL, and that is now 5.9% of the portfolio. Now, this is a bit of a contrarian play in a lot of ways in technology right now. Alphabet is not the hottest stock in technology, but I think Ackman may be looking at this with a little bit longer term lens than a lot of investors right now who are just trying to bet on the things that are growing the most quickly in artificial intelligence and then getting out before the bubble bursts. But Ackman's history is not that that's the way that he invests. He likes to hold positions for a very long period of time So if you're looking at the next 5 to 10 years in technology and kind of the big players in tech, maybe Alphabet is really a good place to look because they have billions of users for a lot of their apps. They have a lead in artificial intelligence in a lot of different ways. They have a lot of challenges. There's no way around that. But this is a very positive cash flow business with its search business, and I think could be seen as a value. That's when Ackman has traditionally tried to get into these companies, is when they're lowly valued, and then ride them up as the sentiment and earnings for both of these companies work together to provide tremendous returns from not only fundamental growth from the business, but also multiple expansion as well. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. Now, I want to caution that we don't want to just copy what a lot of these well-known investors are doing. They're going to do their own analysis. There's a lot of changes that they could be making in their portfolio. These filings are as of the end of 2023, so December 31st. They're not due to be filed until the middle of February. As I'm covering it right now, it's a little over 2 months since these portfolio positions were actually completed. So it's very possible that Ackman acquired or even sold some of these stocks in the meantime as shares have moved up and down. But I think the reason that he's an interesting person to watch in particular is he's somebody that holds positions and very high conviction positions for a very long period of time. We've seen that with the general play in restaurants with both Chipotle and QSR. Obviously, he has a big position in Alphabet. And then I didn't even talk about some of the real estate and entertainment plays with Hilton and the Howard Hughes company and Howard Hughes Holdings. Those are both companies that are going to make money based on development and people spending more on things like travel, office space, resorts, just general real estate plays with the two of those companies. So it's worth at least digging into these stocks a little bit more. And if not looking at why Ackman holds them today, then why he bought them in the first place. I think Chipotle, the real reason is if you look back at that period of time when he was acquiring the stake, this was when Chipotle was going through a real down period. He had the salmonella issues in some of the restaurants. Their same store sales were declining. They took a sharp decline for a couple of years there, but then they've been on a march higher over the last 6 or 7 years. And that's really how you get the operational improvement in Chipotle specifically. So I think that was maybe a little bit of a specific play, but obviously has worked out very well as you get the operating leverage from the business, from those same store sales growth, compounding on the operating costs that should remain relatively flat. You get the store expansion, the number of stores increasing for Chipotle, and you've seen multiple expansion for the stock as well. So that's really the kind of triple play that you're looking for with a stock like Chipotle. Bought it at a downtime. So look at what he's buying recently. The one that caught my eye, obviously, is Alphabet. Over the last couple of years has been adding to the Howard Hughes Corporation. So maybe another one to look at as well. But that's why I think looking at Ackman's portfolio on a quarterly basis is at least a helpful exercise because he has a track record of making some pretty good calls in some of these stocks. But what do you think about the positions he has in Chipotle, in restaurants, in Alphabet? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.